Make sure that anything you say it in a way that you love yourself. Whether it is speaking, speak as if you love yourself too much, and you should love yourself. Move as if you love yourself, and you should love yourself. Eat as if you love yourself, and you should love yourself. Only you can be your biggest cheerleader. Welcome to the discussion today, and on this episode, I am going to be talking about things we need to know. On this episode, I will focus on what we need to tell ourselves more often, because our well-being, especially our mental well-being, is the prerequisite for us to do right, and doing right in driving transformational solutions to ensure that our environment is intact, to ensure that at least we can adapt and take climate action to create opportunities to address the multiplicity of the challenges we face as a global community, as well as the African continent today. And so these 5 things that we have to always do, the first one that we have to do to keep our mental state intact and to not be surprised with anything is make sure that anything you say it in a way that you love yourself. Whether it is speaking, speak as if you love yourself too much, and you should love yourself. Move as if you love yourself, and you should love yourself. Eat as if you love yourself, and you should love yourself. Only you can be your biggest cheerleader. I have said this so many times that you cannot relegate responsibility of taking care of yourself first to anybody else. People can only support you. And so anything you do with love for self first. And this is how we can keep our mental state quite very, very intact. The second point is you will always be too busy, but you have to be busy working on your own grass to make it greener. What do I mean by this? Sometimes we think that what is elsewhere is best, but we forget to know that you can only make a difference by using what you have to get what you don't have. Did you hear that? You must start to use what you have, not what you hope to have. And that's the essence of innovative volunteerism, which is summed up in turning your own passion into profits, doing what you can with your own self, using your own talent, because each and every one of us is inherent with inner talent that are God-given. But what are we doing with it? We always hope that something has to happen elsewhere to make us better. But we focus to know that we have what it is in us to make us better. And that's the miracle that we seek each and every day. That takes me to the third point. You cannot say that you cannot control what is within you. But what I always tell people is that there are things that are going to happen that you will not be able to control them. You cannot control everything that happens to you. That's a fact. But you can control the way you respond to what happens to you. Because your response is the power you have. If you don't allow things to worry you, they will not worry you. But if you allow yourself to be worried with what you cannot control, then you'll be worried. That takes me to the fourth point. You need to tell yourself that you will not get caught up in what could have been or should have been. You need to keep telling yourself that you will look instead at the power and the possibility of what is right now. So you need to become a realist, right? It's raining now. Instead of harvesting the water to use it for irrigation, we fool our arms and complain, and then the rain falls and the water gets wasted. The water gets wasted. Instead of taking a bucket and collecting the water, or thinking of how can you be able to come as a cooperative, a group of people with a common logical thinking in a community, to contribute little money or join a cooperative and take a little capital to buy a water harvesting tank that can then harvest water so that we can collectively use to grow vegetables and sell. These things we can do. They have been done before by our mothers and by our fathers, so we can do them. So what I am saying is we must start to look instead at the power and the possibility of what is right now. We must become realists, not only idealists, thinking of what will happen tomorrow rather than using what is now to prepare for what will happen tomorrow and work towards it. That takes me to the last point, which is you need to start thinking less about managing your problems and instead start thinking more about managing your mindset. We must all start to think less about managing our problems and think more about managing our mindset, because it starts and ends in the mind. Your mind is the most powerful weapon that you've got today. And if you really get that responsibility, you will always feel unease. So the point is this: let this sink on each and every one. A mind well trained with thoughts like those ones that I've enumerated is one step ahead of the inevitable negativity that life challenges us with each and every day. And if we continue to practice, if we practice and do lots and lots and lots and lots of practice, then we will start to see that we are on top of everything. Because the reality is that we have been meant to think that life should just be a place of celebration or a place of ease. That's not true. It's a misconception and it's a false narrative. Right? We will face challenges like those we are facing with climate change, environmental degradation, pollution. But it is within our right to devise solutions to turn those challenges into opportunities. When we complain about them without putting a counter narrative of solutions, then we will only continuously get wind up, and get drained in negativity. So a well-trained mind with thoughts like this is one step ahead of the inevitable negativity that life challenges us with each and every day. And we all need practice, loads and loads of practice, because just like every muscle in the body, the mind needs to be exercised to gain strength. The mind needs to be worked on consistently to grow and develop over time. And if we don't push our minds in this way that I've highlighted over time and again, then it's going to crumble one day when things really get challenging. So the bottom line of all what I am saying is that despite the real world challenges that we each face each and every day, and we will face them either way, we can't run away from it, because that's the world as it is. We can only create the world as it should be by doing what is needed today. And it starts with small actions. We will face challenges, but how do we respond to them? We need to train our mind that challenges will come, adversity will surface, but we will have to respond to it knowing that at least we knew that this was going to happen, and this is how we prepared ourselves to. Because the biggest and most complex obstacle you will have to overcome personally is your own mind. Did you hear that? It is your own mind. And you are responsible for controlling your mind, but you are not responsible for what happens. Things are going to happen beyond your control, but you are responsible for undoing the self-defeating thinking and behavioral pattern that these undesirable experiences creates. So that is how it is, and we must be able to play our role. And I know that what I'm saying here may sound as if it is not doable, but it is doable because you can do it. Think better and act and just be you, and know that you are your biggest cheerleader. Thank you very much. And until then, it's been me, Richard Munam, your uncle.